Welcome back, everybody. This is week number 4 of the European qualifier for the Quake World Championship, and our Duel tournament is well progressing. We've just had 2 series already, and we're ready to get into our next one, which we have a familiar face. It's going to be Hal versus NeyroN. Now, Hal in particular, we've seen him consistently throughout these qualifiers, and this is his final chance.
And again, that is the story of the evening. Hal is one of those players that, actually right at the start of the broadcast, we said there were going to be some players here that have been trying to qualify week after week. Literally all 4 weeks they've been here trying to do it every single time. And this is the last chance. And Hal is kind of right in that boat where week after week he was trying to qualify. I believe we saw him in Sacrifice as well. So he's definitely been 100% Quake mode for the last 4 weeks. And this is where it really becomes make or break for him.
Now, you said it yourself, Sacrifice and Duel, these guys have been sort of living and breathing this game because the Quake World Championship covers both game modes, both the team and the 1v1. So a lot of experience, but you said it yourself, this is the moment of which it can be either heartbreaking or a sigh of relief. If you've been trying to qualify this many times, and even on the 4th week, you just can't quite clutch it out and get that spot. There's not enough spots for everyone. That's just the moral of the story here, that there is not enough space for every player to make it. So you've got to make sure that you are deserving of that you are the cream of the crop when it comes to EU.
And we're going to find out exactly who that is in just a few weeks' time. Let's not forget the way this works today is we go down to our top 16 players of the tournament, and then on Sunday we'll bring those 16 back, and then they will have their make or break games where every single match of the 8 matches left to play will decide our top 8, and that 8 will come back for the regionals.
Well, as we get this map set up and running, once again, the predetermined map will likely be different if this is the next stage, which it likely will be throughout the course of the broadcast. We can't stream every match, so there's going to be a lot going on behind the scenes and progressing as we go. The predetermined map changing means that you've got to be familiar for every map, and 4 weeks in, we're inclined to think that's going to be the case now. We did just see NeyroN with an amazing performance, a lot of confidence, very aggressive, fast-paced. He picked the right champions for the job, and actually, funny enough, I don't even think we saw his visor once. Even though he picked it, we just didn't even get, he didn't even need it at that stage.
We didn't get the chance to, and we actually see that quite a lot where players will kind of just run through that one champion and will do really well, especially earlier on in the tournament, I think, when you have those hungry players that are really ready to just, you know, bring it and try and get that qualification. But in the 2 series we've had so far today, the first one was very slow. We saw a hell of timeouts, just almost time after time. And then the second was the complete opposite, where NeyroN was just taking it to Fagner immediately and was winning the round within just a few minutes every single time. So I definitely think it's going to be quite explosive, quite back and forth, but just as I can say that, NeyroN here with that clutch for the first time today.
Now, a big part of this team comp I think we saw Scalebearer and Clutch on the same team.
Uncorrupted
on the side. Exactly. I think that's why we saw it though. This is a map that really favors those chunky champions because there's no rail. It's small and enclosed. If you're someone like Clutch or Scalebearer, you can really get in there and tank a lot of rockets while making sure that if you're accurate, you just out-survive a lot of people. But on this map in particular, I don't think any champion does it better than Clutch.
But, you know, speaking of weapons, there being no rail means that that rocket launcher is like...
Oh, wait a minute. Have we...
this is warm up.
I was about to say, that is an early start, but... No, it's a 30-second.
But with there being no rail, that does mean this little rim here where the rocket launcher spawns tends to be quite a contested area, especially early on in the round, because you know, everyone's going to want to get hold of that rocket. Everyone's going to want that damage potential. And ultimately, the rocket is the strongest weapon on this map.
The difference here is that Hal has not opted to go for the sheer amount of beefy champions, as NeyroN has, but he has gone in for the Blaskovich, and I think that is a direct answer to making sure that on this map, if you've got a rail, if you've got even like a heavy machine gun or a super nail gun on this map, he does insane damage, and it will be able to shred through the tankiness that 2 of NeyroN's champions actually have.
And was able to secure himself an LG first.
No, Clutch got the rocket launcher early. That is a really good start for him, and unfortunately Hal's stuck in a bad spot, but not really fragged for it. I thought maybe he would have gone down if he got stuck near that corner, but I think Clutch, he couldn't have asked for a better start there, right
he still has his dual wield though. NeyroN might have used his barrier already, and Hal has that dual wield. If he can start a fight soon, he does have the OG.
He's going to know that too.
He's seen him.
It's going to be hard for him to escape.
He wants to get close and go for the dual wield. He's looking for it. There's a dual wield pop from a distance. Machine gun just to add this damage. Barrier already comes back.
That was a very fast respawn time.
And he got the leg of health too as well. NeyroN was able to really bring himself back quite well with that one. But we can see that now Hal is able to get himself a rocket launcher.
Quite a big difference here, though, is that Blaskovich's ability does not have as much of a generous cooldown. It's going to be down for 30 seconds, and it's incredibly likely now that NeyroN will have his shield all ready before Hal has his dual wield to try and answer back.
Switch barrier already back. Duel Wield not going to be up for a while yet.
He's got a shield wall, though, if he needs it. I mean, he's got 175 health. He can still fight if he wants, but he's just going to go towards that heavy armor. Just stay nice and healthy.
He's patiently waiting. I think he expects Hal to come around, but I don't think Hal's quite close enough. Yeah, Hal is kind of just waiting out this distance.
He just goes straight through head first. Got a shield wall back already. That 30-second cooldown time is very, very generous. But you'll notice, only using the shield wall when he deems that he needs it. He doesn't just pop it willy-nilly.
Of course, you want to be careful. You know, actually, usually we see Blazkowicz players will go for that Duel Wield, and Clutch players will. Whoa, the telefrag! Oh, Hal, unfortunately, standing right where he shouldn't have been standing in that situation.
That was not really the manner of which I expected the first frag to go, to be honest. But that's going to work out for him nicely. And he's on that scale bearer.
No, normally this is an interesting matchup considering the bull rush doesn't get sponged by the barrier at all. If he can get a good run.
Oh, no, he actually mistimed it horrendously. He still had 3 seconds left before it appeared.
That does happen sometimes. I mean, even though we might see timers for spectator purposes, but these players don't see how long they've got left. So that is literally just memorization themselves, and it's more than possible for these guys to make that sort of mistake. But unfortunately, it basically cost them the round.
Now, I mean, that's why Clutch is such an effective pick here. You know, Blazkowicz, if he can catch him without a shield wall, will be able to do a lot of just shred-based damage, just melt the health down. However, what NeyroN did a good job of was making sure that he was not in a fight until he had the shield wall ready. So he was never really in that position. It was a non-issue. Oh, 97 damage already. And again, Clutch starting near that rocket launcher is such an effective start for him because when he's got that shield wall activated, the rocket launcher is all he needs. And there we go.
Barrier popped. He's getting aggressive. He has to take this fight. It's going to be wasted completely.
Now Hal has managed to catch him. He's taken a lot of damage and actually misses the jump. It's going to be a few seconds before we can get the health back, but again, heavy armor. Not punished too heavily.
And there's that kind of trade, the heavy armor for mega health, both players picking up one or the other.
Well, you're surrounded by health as well when you get that heavy armor, so it's quite a nice little trade-off if you can get caught in a safe spot. There's that shield wall. Doesn't want to soak up any of those preemptive rockets, but no, takes a little bit of unnecessary damage. Doesn't quite get the jump over that lava pit.
You see the patience, he's listening out. You can tell NeyroN really wants to sort of stock himself up right now. Doesn't have much armor at all. Hal, on the other hand, is fully stacked up on health and armor. Mega health could be up any second now. Going to secure it, most likely. And the heavy machine gun pickup too, but right now the lightning gun and rocket launcher deadly at taking out characters like Clutch. But NeyroN's just been doing a really good job of just avoiding these fights right now until he's healthy again.
I think because Hal has been facing off against Clutch first with this Blazkowicz, we haven't really had the chance to see just how dangerous the dual wield can be. Because, I mean, Clutch is such an amazing answer to this champion. In some ways, it really feels like a direct counter.
But NeyroN's really slowed this one down. You can tell he's really just sort of forcing this one out. Did pick up the mega health deuce, who's going to be very tanky. Here's that dual wheel pop. Does he have the barrier? I don't know. He doesn't have the barrier, and he's going to pay dearly for it as Hal just dominates that first frag straight away.
That's how differently the matchup can go if Clutch does not have a shield wall, I think, is what we've learned from that. Oh, tries to get in midair, but just bumps into that statue. But this is another common scenario. Using that heavy machine gun against an opponent that can't re-maneuver themselves here to just keep them in check. Almost like that's the closest thing you've got to a sniping-based weapon. And there we go, NeyroN unable to get that Dire Orb safely out there. And Hal with a much better round. And a big part of that is eliminating the Clutch. But not only doing that, catching him without the shield wall. Nice patience, waiting for his opportunity to get the kill.
Rockets coming down through from NeyroN, but he is stuck. That is a pretty bad situation to be stuck in. There's no way out. Once you go through that teleporter and you get stuck up here, the only way out is straightforward, and he's going to use his bull rush to survive, but still barely left alive, and a few bullets from the machine gun will do more than enough damage to take him down.
It feels like in some ways Hal deliberately ran towards NeyroN there to get hit by an early scalebearer charge, of which it does very little damage. If he's got his dual wield on deck and he saw the charge and he runs into it on purpose to take the lowest damage possible, the trade-off of dual wield versus minimal damage bull rush was only ever going to be beneficial. I think that was a good decision if that was intentional.
Well calculated, and this time Hal's able to get the rocket launcher before NeyroN gets in range for it. So he's going to pick up the... actually, he didn't get the armor either.
15 seconds on both. They went for a straight-up trade once again. That was really well played from Hal, catching that Clutch out early. Just needs to do it again, a couple more rounds.
NeyroN with no armor though, but lots of health. Still going to take a while to burst him down from that amount.
And now he's
I was
straight back
say
up.
that 100 armor, now he's gotten a lot more intimidating.
Good day for NeyroN, knowing he's there, but ooh.
Yeah, NeyroN's doing a good job of just avoiding engagements right now. It looks like NeyroN isn't happy to fight unless he's the one to start it.
Yeah, he's playing very passively. Takes a rocket, going straight in, they're going to trade it, and there we go, immediately switching towards the rocket to try and make the splash damage do the job, but it does actually work out. He was on 6 HP, but that one final rocket just put the nail in the coffin. Great decision.
I know hindsight's a wonderful thing, but if only NeyroN went to the machine gun instead of the lightning gun, maybe one of those bullets would have had the range to connect. 6 health would have done enough to kill him off, but Hal survives and has already managed to get a mega health to top himself up to overhealed again.
I think that was great reactive play from both players, but hang on a minute. He's really checking him at range with the heavy machine gun. He's getting a couple hits, but it's not enough. Remember, when you have that heavy machine gun, your fire rate is reduced while you're zoomed in for the payout of more damage. But I love that.
Goes heavy armor as he can get there in time to stop him.
I want to say, I love the reactive play where Clutch saw the dual wield, so Clutch popped the shield, but then Blazkowicz saw the shield and then immediately switched to the rocket launcher to try and go for splash damage instead. There we go, another dual wield. Really can't survive this. He has to get out, but he's so weak at the stage. All Hal has to do right now is just get one good rocket and that's it. He's out. He would have seen that rocket, so he knows he's going towards mega health, but it's not up for 5 more seconds. Oh, that jump pad saved him.
Yeah, NeyroN managed to escape very well there. Oh, heavy armor's gonna be up soon. Hal goes straight to it, but he's getting intercepted. Can he safely do it? No.
Doesn't
He's
want to
close,
overcommit.
but as NeyroN, no, he's gonna quite stop him yet.
I think NeyroN actually maybe have made the read that he wasn't going to go for it. Hal didn't go towards heavy armor because he anticipated the ambush, but there was no one there. Once again, both players just listening out.
I mean, look at the caution. You don't see this every single map, and they're really content to just sit there and wait.
There's the dire orb.
Oh, managed to teleport onto the mega health, but he is getting pursued completely. Hal.
He has taken so much damage, and just because of that, Hal gets the rocket. And I was almost ready to actually see Hal get fragged there if he just got one rocket with a bit more damage, but caught him in a bad spot and just punished. Speaking of getting caught in a bad spot, he's caught Scalebearer on spawn, but Hal himself is taking so much damage, going in for the ball rush, but it misses. Every weight doesn't manage to connect and eats a rocket to the face. That was unfortunate.
NeyroN was doing a good job of just sort of tracking him with that charge, but ultimately I think Hal was just keeping that distance as much as physically possible.
I think that was just really good dodging. I think
Yeah,
the dodging, just the prediction at the last minute, was just very well.
That was also just like really honest dodging. Blazkowicz, like his passive isn't about movement and his ability isn't about movement. If you can dodge with Blazkowicz of all characters, it's because you naturally just dodged it yourself.
He's just taken the rocket away from Clutch, and Clutch only, he's just got it back now, but he only had the lightning gun, so he wasn't going to be able to use the shield wall effectively there because his shield would have been down. Nice catch.
Gets the heavy machine gun, but still here.
I think the objective here is going to be to do so much damage to Clutch, you either force him to run away or force the shield wall. At this stage, he's forced him to run. And they're going to take that trade. Mega health, heavy armor, the classic trade.
However, though, we've seen how dangerous Clutch can be if he has access to that armor, and he does now.
He hasn't used the shield wall either. So we're going to see if that's enough. Oh, just caught him off guard. And there's the shield wall. But it doesn't matter, actually get hit by 75 damage anyway. And the dual wield is going to outlast the shield, and Hal knows it.
No, I actually think that was NeyroN decided to fire a rocket in defense, but obviously when you're playing as Clutch, the barrier goes down when you fire your weapon. And the split second it was down for the rocket to come through was all Hal needed to get through that dual wield damage. And Hal finds himself 2 champions away from taking map 1.
Well, that's why, as Clutch, you prioritize those single-shot weapons, because the shield's going to be down, but if you stick to a single-shot weapon, you maximize the amount of time you can be safe while outputting damage, but that last minute just fired at the wrong time.
Looks like Hal picking this Blazkowicz has really just been a complete blessing for him right now.
It was a good choice.
Taking down this Clutch, Scalebearer left in reserves, but Ranger will get deleted by a good dual wield.
And we've seen that already. But I think that's why Hal's gone for this pick. Like, it's a great answer. It's analyzing not only the champions that you've seen, but the champions you anticipate the opponent to pick, and go against it accordingly. Like, you know, we've
very
said,
weak, but the armor's going to keep him alive.
in some ways, Clutch is a direct counter to Blazkowicz because of that shield wall, but if you are a good player and you
that direct from a distance as well.
They've traded it out, though. Even though Hal got that direct, he is still way weaker.
Yeah, now in the distance, though, still no armor left to go.
Back up to healthy, full everything, but not
It's a
overcharged.
very healthy range at the very least, though. A little bit of damage. He's running towards that heavy armor.
I think NeyroN timed this just a little bit better, I think.
He's just saying, does he go through? He did. Right as Hal wasn't expecting him to go through. Oh, a lot of damage coming through. The lightning gun is going to finish him off. NeyroN immediately recognizing how much damage he had dealt.
Very important rocket to land, so he couldn't really control his movement. But hang on a minute, Hal being really aggressive with that scale bearer. Tries to get the read. Ball rushing through the teleporter. Is it enough? No, he zigs when he should have zagged. Left instead of right.
That is the classic. NeyroN goes right out of it. Oh, he still gets the frag anyway.
That was really good.
That was a classic, right? Where it becomes right or left. And he just guessed wrong on the 50-50. That's all we can say about it.
But they both go for scale bearer. That's it. He's going to get out.
Oh, no! Come back! No! Come back! You can't jump off there. You'll die.
That was quite possibly the funniest suicide I think I've seen all champions. He just, see you later, mate. I'm going to run off this ledge. I've missed you, and I'm now going to punish myself and pay the ultimate price.
When you do the ball rush, you shouldn't run off the map.
He tried not to, because it's too late.
Then you'll die.
He was going too fast.
I mean, like, all jokes aside, right, you have limited movement left and right. You can cancel earlier, but it can be iffy in certain situations because you have to make that split decision of, if I leave the rush now, I will die because there is someone behind me shooting rockets at me. If I can ever so slightly keep my speed but make it through, you know, because he was clearly veering towards the doorway. He wanted to get through the bottom of the sort of the, what would you call it? I guess like the church, right, where the mega health spawns. He clearly tried to veer towards the doorway, but just didn't quite have that angle, you know what I mean? And then dead.
Well, I respect the dedication because, I mean, all you had to do was take one look at the HP. He knew he'd done more than enough damage. So if he got the bull rush at that length, the damage of the bull rush was going to by far delete him. So it was a good call to try and get that frag. But when he ever so slightly missed, like you said, he just didn't quite get the exit, and that was that. But I mean, looking really strong. We've got to say, like, well played. The Blazkowicz pick has been, in some ways, you'd go right. He's going up against Clutch first. So that's going to be the best champion in that lineup to take down a Blazkowicz, because if you can sort of use your shield to go through the dual wield, you can sort of just survive, and then when he's got nothing, just check him with those rockets, because he can't get around with the passive, can't get away with the ability. You know, it's not movement based at all, it's all damage. But he just did a great job of just outplaying that.
I actually really like the back and forth though between Blazkowicz and the Clutch, because like on paper, considering how much we've seen Clutch just run through Blazkowicz players before by just popping that barrier and just nullifying that dual wield completely, we're clearly seeing Hal have answers to it. You know, he's playing around it. It's not quite a clear cut of, okay, well, Clutch is going to beat Blazkowicz here, or vice versa for other things. You can definitely play around it, you know, using your movement, using where you want to aim, doing everything you can to get around. Even if it's like harassment, right? If you pop dual wield and they pop the barrier, and you realize that, okay, well, I hurt him a bunch before he popped this, so he can't fight back. And you almost like just bully them and chase them down. Even the situation that we saw him go for the rocket launcher out of a barrier to try and not die, and that caused him to die. It almost like forces your opponent to make that kind of decision in the last minute, which normally can be the difference between life or death.
So a very obvious change here has come from the NeyroN. He swapped out the scale bearer for the visor, which makes me think that final pick, I kind of feel like the Ranger and the Clutch is like the basic for him, and then that final pick seems to be map dependent. So on Corrupted Keep, we saw Scale Bearer get picked because it's extra beef, a great map for Scale Bearer, especially seeing as there's no rail. But when we go on to Blood Run, it's, right, well, what champion do I want with my existing team comp? What is that extra element of utility that I want? And in this case, he really wants that piercing sight. We'll see if it's going to be enough. Once again, guys, this would have been a map that was picked by NeyroN because he was the loser of the last map. So we had the option to choose the map next.
Still though, Hal going to be sitting at that comfortable map advantage here, having taken the first one, so only has one map left to go to move on this bracket today. Again, Hal being one of those players, we've seen him week after week. We know he's been constantly putting in the grind, putting in the time to try and qualify for these regionals, and unfortunately he's just fell short week after week, and this is his final opportunity, but looking very strong to do so this week.
An immediate adaptation that NeyroN has gone for the Ranger first.
Oh,
and he's got caught in a bad spot. That was a clean frag to take that first blood too.
That was just, he appeared and that was it. Dead immediately.
Oh, and he's got an amazing spawn on the Clutch. He's really overstacked as well, so make that even more so now he's got the heavy armor. That was a really unfortunate spawn for NeyroN. He's going to get the armor, but he has so much health to answer back here. He's just going to wait out the shield wall, I think. No, he actually manages to pursue it. I wonder why he dedicated.
Ever so slightly still alive. NeyroN goes through, and there is the rail. Hal, once again, this first character, this first champion, Blazkowicz, doing so much work already.
I really feel like going through that teleporter there was a mistake. He just took the damage the second that shield wall ran out, and amazingly timed by Hal, knowing he was going to get it. And It's just in time for the heavy armor to come back. Now, if Hal gets this, which is looking likely he will do, he is going to be a headache.
Opted not to go for the heavy armor there, though. Maybe he doesn't want to make it too obvious, but it's going to go straight back there anyway. Maybe he just fell down.
Well, that's one thing's for certain, is that Visor will not be able to evade that dual wield at all. So if he gets caught in a bad situation, he's likely to die here. Unless he can get a good rail or a couple of good rockets. He hasn't even got the rail yet.
No, he hasn't.
It's risky. I think he knows it's risky. He knows it's risky.
Making a full comeback with Visor seems quite difficult overall. Obviously, you have the utility of Piercing Sight, knowing where they are, but ultimately, you know, nothing to help you in a fight. Piercing Sight isn't going to change a fight when you're actually, you know, having that 1v1 point blank. It will help you find where they're going to run away to, perhaps, but no more than that.
Now, ever so slightly missing that rail. I don't think he cares too much right now. He has got the champion advantage. He can be defensive, but to be honest, with how Hal's been playing this, and now he's got a Blazkowicz behind the wheel, I don't think he's going to try and stall for 3 minutes. I definitely think he's going to try and just secure that frag.
He's doing good for it so far. Overstacked on health and armor a little bit, albeit only by a few points of armor, but definitely enough. We've seen how sort of impactful having armor can be.
Oh my goodness! I always hate to see that when they're just waiting, and the millisecond they look away, that's when the opponent goes around the corner. If only they stayed for just that little bit extra. I feel like that's a classic at this point as well.
Heavy arms up. You can tell Hal doesn't want to be too obvious. Yeah, and NeyroN is already putting rockets over towards it. Doesn't want to let, well, I suppose concede it for free. But Hal's going to be able to pick it up anyway. And there's that health regen that can make Blazkowicz so dangerous when you're sort of just holding the situation. You do a little bit of poke damage and he kind of just builds it back up immediately.
Well, so far, a lot of nothing has happened within the span of that 1 minute. So I did say that originally Hal was likely to be aggressive and try and secure a frag. But at this stage, I mean, there was 3 minutes left. He's already stayed alive for over 1 minute, and nothing really has happened. So if he can just keep this up for 2 minutes, you know he's going to do that if he has the chance.
This can be the change of pace, though. Nice hit. Hal very low on health, already starting to pick up some slow just to regenerate himself quickly.
Oh no, gets caught in a bad spot trying to go for the heavy armor. And he's going to allow Hal to maybe take it. That Piercing Sight to see where he is. Hal actually not overextending. He doesn't want to give NeyroN that opening.
There's no way Hal didn't hear him activate Piercing Sight. Understandably being careful.
There's the rail. The rail combined with the mega health is just going to further that gap between them.
You saw him go through there. Once again, Hal just keeps committing until the last split second, and the split second is exactly when NeyroN is choosing to go through. Well,
that is something important that Blazkowicz will have. If you hit him with the rail and he's got like under 70 HP, he's likely to recharge back up to 100, which means that he's not going to be able to just get fragged by one rail. He's
1 minute warning already. He stalled for 2 minutes. Hal, I mean, he's clearly not avoiding fights. Like, he's going for them when they can, but ultimately now...
I think when he knows he can get the frag, he'll go in for it, but there's no reason for him to overextend here, and he definitely knows that. Oh. Going in for the OG, the dual wield.
This is a tricky situation to be in.
Oh, but I mean... If he was the one that was having to defend, he might have been able to get away and pursue that, but NeyroN is the one that just took all that damage, and he is the one that needs to make something happen. He's got 30 seconds to get 2 frags to at least just even things out. This is a bit of a tall order, and I just don't know if it's possible.
I'm willing to say this round is over. I just don't see NeyroN being able to take out 2 champions to even just even things up, right? Not even to win the round, just to not lose here.
At this point, he needs to get a frag and then get an amazing spawn and finish it. I mean, there's almost 10 seconds. I think this might be impossible.
What I like about this, though, even though Hal has been stalling for time, he's not doing it at the cost of controlling power-ups. He's making sure that he's topped up on health and armor all the time. He's getting chased down, 4 seconds left to go. Yeah, this is probably it.
He was really stacked as well, like even after all those rockets and the rail. But you said it yourself, like when he's doing a good job of still controlling those power-ups, if you're taking those power-ups away from your opponent, that is an even bigger way of avoiding them from making the comeback, because they can't get the important items they need to catch you in a bad spot. You're staying healthy, they're staying not healthy, and it's just a great trade-off.
So going straight into round 2, once again Hal going for his first champion, Blazkowicz. Tri-Bolt coming out and unfortunately not doing much damage at all.
Yeah, the Tri-Bolt really kind of seems like it serves a similar purpose of a rocket launcher if you don't quite have a rocket launcher, you know?
Or just like movement, or just like sort of zoning away?
A mixture of both, like minimal sort of distance control, and you can do those Tri-Bolt jumps obviously, but the rocket launcher really is the granddaddy of that utility.
Unfortunately though, in like the 4 weeks of qualifications, I do believe we've seen a total of like maybe 1 Tri-Bolt kill. It just is not a very popular weapon.
But it's popular in game modes like Sacrifice, where it has a little bit of a different purpose, that area denial. Not everyone's going to be able to have a rocket launcher on hand, so the Tri-Bolt is going to be really useful to deny things like soul pickup and quad damage and stuff like that, but in Duel it's a different ball game, I think.
But that makes sense. The sort of the the tried and true triangle of weapons in Duel, I think will always kind of be core for now. At the very least, that's definitely the weapons these guys are the most confident with. Oh, and a quick swap to the rail for a massive amount of damage, but NeyroN takes him down anyway.
Yeah, but because of it, though, he did manage to get a good rail, but with minimal health left, the downtime in between shots was enough to secure that lightning gun sequence. NeyroN hitting the wall a couple of times, though.
Already seen that it isn't that much impactful, though. There's the sheer lack of self-damage that Ranger takes.
Uh-oh. Actually, they're both weak. I wonder if they're going to stay here, or... Yeah, they're both trying to get out of there. It would have been a bold decision for either one of them to stay and challenge that rail. He would have heard that.
Oh, no!
Maybe he didn't hear it. Okay, he just dropped down and shot him. Dead. Outright.
I mean, was NeyroN looking at heavy armor? Did he think he was just going to go towards that instead?
Likely. I mean, that's where the middle was where he sort of come out most of this series. So I guess he was just confident that was where it's going to be. But unfortunately, just giving up that frag unnecessarily. But NeyroN has gone in for clutch. Didn't really get to do anything in the last round. Will his clutch be able to make a difference here? It's going to be one each.
Once again, you can see Hal trying to bait him towards the mega health here. He knows it's up. Oh, they tried to go for the instant dire orb.
He's got nothing to escape, but the rockets actually haven't been working out. Even though he managed to soak up all the damage with the shield and the missed rail too.
Oh, he doesn't have a barrier. This is a big body clutch. He's going to be hard to miss with the LG. But here's that clutch 1v1 coming down. Oh no!
The jump pad ever so slightly caused him to miss the rail. And yeah, clutch is not going to go towards that middle. He almost took so much damage there, but the misses again were very, very prominent. He needs to really tighten up that accuracy, I think.
In a little amount of time, though, NeyroN's already done a good job of sort of building himself back up. Once again, no armor, though. Hal hasn't been missing these rails. It's quite common to see people have really good accuracy versus clutch. He's just such a big target, but Hal...
You can see NeyroN's actually sitting there and waiting, but only the super nail guns actually wasn't really able to stop him from taking both of those key health items.
NeyroN doesn't have an LG, but he does have rocket and rail, so he does have a lot of damage potential, but...
Well, clutch in particular, I mean, the rocket launcher really is all he needs. That said, he's only got 7 left, so if he's going to try and sort of keep distance with some of these rockets, when he next has to fight, he might not have enough rockets to actually make the fight worthwhile for him. He's only got 4 left.
Yeah, he definitely would have just seen that mega health went. Oh, tried to get heavy armor, but he gets intercepted.
Oh! Just caught off guard there. Tried to go for it, didn't quite get it, and punished accordingly, I suppose.
I mean, that's what can happen on Blood Run. When you're trying to control the heavy armor, you go for it at a bad time, your opponent is there ready to stop you, they will make you pay immediately for it.
It's pretty much the most popular way or consistent way that we see these frags happen on this map, is when someone just gets a great read on that armor. Because that is it is one of, if not the most risky places to grab heavy armor. Because it is right out in the open. You are at so much risk going for that. But, you know, if you can get a good read on it, or you're confident enough. But again, NeyroN's down to that visor, but we've already surpassed the 1-minute warning.
So I actually think we might see another timeout 2 rounds in a row. I mean, this seems to be something that Hal is content to do. He'll take those fights when he can, but if he needs to play lame, he will do it.
He's going in for the kill.
Oh, if he can go for it. He's got the fight.
Oh, he's going for the mega health, but is it enough? He does get the LG, so he's still alive. That mega health was so pivotal.
So NeyroN with this mega health visor versus Scale Bearer. Visor not the best at dodging around.
Really well used piercing sight. Hal has just taken so much damage.
This might be a situation for NeyroN to make the comeback on.
There's that predictive rocket, but minimal damage so far. Here comes the LG. Again, both players unbelievably weak. So we're now in overtime, but to be honest, in sudden death, it doesn't really matter. They've got one champion anyway, so regardless, the next champion's going to take the round. It's piercing sight with a very long cooldown, so NeyroN won't have it for quite a while in comparison to the bull rush, which Hal has, but he uses it defensively. I definitely agree with that decision.
You've just seen how much distance he can cover in such a small amount of time, especially as a big body champion like this. Mega health going to be up soon, though. Question is, we're going to see a big fight break out for it. I actually think Hal might just get it for free, unless NeyroN is there to stop him.
They trade a rail for a rail, but if you're going to trade rails against a big body, you got to make sure you got lots of health too. Oh no, misses it, goes in for the full rush, guaranteed damage. I mean, that was in the blink of an eye. Super fast.
I mean, he just kind of appeared. He just appears out of the teleporter, already running, and he just builds speed faster and faster until ultimately, I mean, I'm surprised even it like survived the impact, let alone the rocket launcher after it.
But you know why he bull rushed through that teleport? Because he just made a read. He read that he was going to be up there. He was successful, got the reactions to track him down, and that was a clean frag. Now, on this potential final round, NeyroN's gone back to the classic. He's gone clutch first. It's going to be quite good for him, though,
but
because
it does sound like he only has a tri-bolt.
Hal hasn't started with Blaskovic here, so he's not going to have that natural shred.
He might just not be feeling it's making as much of a difference on this map, particularly, perhaps?
Yeah, true. And there's that shield wall. Hal is weak, though, so NeyroN might be able to chase this if he wants to, but I think he's just content taking Mega Health. Taking Mega Health and taking 6 damage in the process, an easy trade all day. Here's the standoff.
Yeah, but he's walking slowly. That was good patience from NeyroN not to rush around the corner.
Oh, goes in for the rail again, actually. I wasn't sure if he was supposed to have a rocket there.
Oh, jumps through.
It kind of looks like he fumbles the jump again, though, but Mega Health goes down. And NeyroN, because he's been consistently taking that Mega Health, it's really good for a champion like Clutch. Yeah, he is heavily built up now. I'm going to see if that's enough for him to fight. You mentioned it last time, though. NeyroN doesn't really fight unless it's on his terms. Even with this health and armor, I think he only wants to start a fight if he's the one that's going to start it. And right now, once again, it is not that case.
No, he's actually just playing very slowly, but obviously when you've got this overstacked health and armor, the longer you take to fight, the longer that's just sort of gradually tick down. Like you can see, even though it's, you know, minorly, it's still there. He's still losing health every second you're not fighting. Barrier's popped. He smells but he's going in for the fight. Oh, heavy armor.
He does manage to take it, but just look at how little health he's got. But he's still going in. He's still confident.
How did Hal win that?
Because he got the 2 important health pickups after taking the risk and getting heavy armor. That was a bold play. And we said earlier on in the tournament, this is the make or break. This is the final week. If your decisions don't work, you may regret them for the whole year. But right here...
I mean, that's got to be a confidence killer from NeyroN. He had heavy armor. Well, no, he had mega health and max armor at the time. And to lose that 1v1 after doing so much damage, but Hal, he took the 1v1 while still fighting, while going for heavy armor, while going for those 2 health pickups. Hal played that perfectly. And right, yeah, NeyroN unfortunately missing his dire orb. Oh, goes from below.
This is definitely a very stressful situation for NeyroN, though, because if he loses these 2 champions, almost running into that dire orb as well. Hal caught him on the Mega, but it doesn't matter because the rail will just disregard all of that health. And he's down to his final champion. Visor needs to make this 3-champion comeback, otherwise he is out for good.
That's it, NeyroN, his Visor is by himself now, keeping him single-handedly into the tournament, and thus keeping him into the Quake World Championships. A lot of pressure now for this life coming out from NeyroN, but Hal, you know, it's going to be soft to look and push his momentum.
100 damage rocket, he's going in for the gauntlet. Okay, that would have been an interesting frag if we saw that one. But again, just denying pickup after pickup. As long as NeyroN cannot pick these up, it's going to be so almost impossible for him to make this comeback.
NeyroN getting that sort of retreating rail. It's going to connect. Hal, though, has plenty of health left to work with. Going to take a little bit more damage from that.
A minute and a half to take out 2 champions just to stay alive, not even to win the round. There's the dire orb, but no teleport there. Hal doesn't take the risk. Here comes the LG. This might be an opening.
He's hesitant to go in, doesn't want to rush into it. See Hal trying to get away, trying to pepper down those rockets. Misses the rail and lets Hal get away. Every time Hal escapes these fights, that clock is going to be ticking down. 1 minute and 5 seconds left to go before we are finished.
Well, let's say how long it roughly takes for the next fight to take place. And nice, good read on the rail. Only has to land 1 more, but Hal isn't going to be interested. He's not going to try and take that trade-off. He wants to run. He wants to take this clock as far as it can possibly go. 50 seconds. NeyroN, the pressure's on. He has to get something happening, otherwise that is it.
He's only going to have time for 1 more piercing sight between, but Hal's forced in this fight. He's going in hard. Is that going to connect? Not quite. But once again, Hal survives with barely any life.
Oh, he misses the rail! Now! He's got a frag, but is it enough time to make this comeback? He has to get a good spawn.
All right, NeyroN needs to get the Scale Bearer killed in 30 seconds. If he wastes any time, he will lose for sure. He has no time for piercing sight. He needs to fight now. Hal is probably not going to go through the teleporter because he needs to stall for time.
Heavy armor appears. He does manage to take it. 20 seconds. He has to be aggressive now. He has to come off better in this fight. The bull rush hits him on the bottom, but is it enough?
He hit the rail. That could be enough. Hal running away.
He's on the run.
He needs to chase.
I don't know if he can chase this down in 10 seconds. Hal's just going to listen out. Goes in with the brilliant rocket, and that is all she wrote.
I mean, I completely understand the decision, though, in that situation, because at the end of the day, NeyroN, if he didn't chase in that exact situation, he wouldn't have got the frag. He wouldn't have had the time. Hal was going to be able to run away. Hal actually made a risky decision to stay there and stop him from following him. Because had he done that and he didn't go, or he went around the side, maybe it would have worked. But I think Hal choosing to sit there and defend and stop him from being chased bought the time he needed, because there was 10 seconds left on the clock in that situation. NeyroN had less than 10 seconds to decide.
That's more than enough time.
Do I chase him now, or do I try and do something else? And doing something else, unless you've got 10 seconds to do it, very dangerous.
Now this change to Blood Covenant right here, just catching him in a bad spot, but at the end of the day, it just came down to Hal being really bold, and this right here was just a great read, because I think you said, I'm surprised he even survived the damage of that, but it was just confident decisions all round. It just didn't work out for NeyroN. Hal, this was a great fight too.
This was the defining 1v1 in this entire series for Hal, I think.
Right there, and he just caught him on the jump pad. He wasn't able to run away, landed straight on it. But it was just good decisions after good decisions, and because of that, it just kind of snowballed as each round went forward. Hal seemed to gain a little bit more confidence. The pressure would add on for NeyroN, where he only had to win a couple more rounds, and that was it. He was moving on. But if you're on the receiving end of that, that's a tall order. I mean, even without the situation, a 3 straight comeback is a tall order, let alone when you're on the verge of being eliminated for good.
So, GG's to Hal. Going to be moving on. We see him week after week try and qualify for regionals.
He's playing like a man who wants to make it finally.
He's playing well, and it's with multiple champions, which I think is my favorite thing to see. You know, no reliance on just one or two by themselves. In the first map, we saw it was Blazkowicz. Map 2, really, I think the unsung hero for him was Ranger. So looking
map specific, right?
Yeah, looking comfortable.
Corrupted Keep was great for Blazkowicz, and we've said it time and time again, Blood Run is fantastic for Ranger. So while we get our next map underway, we're going to go for another break and set up the next game. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.